The story begins with Seth Gecko and Richie Gecko, two brothers on the run from the law for robbing banks, decide to rob a liquor store. In the process, they engage in a shootout with Texas Ranger Earl McGraw and kill the store clerk, Pete Bottoms. The resulting chaos inadvertently leads to the destruction of the store. As they seek refuge in the hostel room, Seth goes out to get food, leaving Richie alone with the bank clerk whom they had taken hostage. When Seth returns, he finds out that Richie has not only raped, but also murdered the clerk, which infuriates him. Jacob Fuller, a pastor grappling with a crisis of faith following the loss of his wife, takes a vacation with his teenage children, Scott and Kate, in their RV. Their trip takes a horrifying turn when they stop at the inn and get abducted by the Gecko brothers. The brothers force the Fuller family to help them smuggle themselves across the Mexican border. Once in Mexico, the group arrives at the Titty Twister, a strip club located in the desert, where the Gecko brothers plan to meet their contact, Carlos, at dawn. Carlos will then guide them to the sanctuary at El Rey, a safe haven for fugitives from justice. However, admission to the sanctuary requires a steep fee of 30% of everything they possess. Richie voices his objection to the exorbitant fee to Seth, but Seth tells him that negotiation is not an option. During a brawl at the bar, the staff reveals themselves as vampires and slaughters most of the patrons. A stripper named Santanico Pandemonium bites Richie, turning him into a vampire who eventually dies. However, Seth manages to kill Santanico by shooting a chandelier above her, impaling her. The only survivors are Seth, Jacob, Kate, Scott, a biker named Sex Machine, and Frost, a Vietnam War veteran. The group must face the challenge of killing their former friends, who have transformed into vampires, including Richie. As an army of vampire bats congregate outside, the survivors lock themselves in for safety. Unfortunately, Sex Machine gets bitten and becomes a vampire, attacking both Frost and Jacob. In a heroic move, Frost hurls Sex Machine through the door, thereby enabling the vampires to enter, while Frost himself turns into a vampire. Meanwhile, Seth, Kate, and Scott manage to flee to a storeroom, where they're joined by an injured Jacob, who is still alive and holding a shotgun. The group hatches a plan to create weapons from the truck cargo that the vampires have looted from their previous victims. This includes a stake mounted on a pneumatic drill, a crossbow, and holy water, which requires Jacob to recover his lost faith to bless. As the group prepares for battle, they realize that Jacob's injury from the vampire attack will turn him into a vampire soon. Jacob makes Scott and Kate promise to kill him when he turns. The group launches their last attack on the undead. Sex Machine mutates into a rat-like monster and launches an assault on Seth, but the latter manages to kill him. As the group fights their way through the horde of vampires, Jacob transforms into a vampire, but Scott hesitates to kill him, leading Jacob to bite him. After killing Jacob, Scott falls prey to the vampires and begs for death, which Kate ultimately grants. As the vampires close in on Kate and Seth, beams of sunlight pour through bullet holes in the building, making the vampires retreat. Just as the situation appears to be hopeless, Carlos arrives with his security guards, who blow the door open, letting in the sunlight. The sunlight then proceeds to destroy the vampires. Seth reprimands Carlos for selecting a poorly secured meeting location, and negotiates a reduced fee for his entrance to El Rey. Kate inquires if Seth wants her to accompany him, but he declines, citing her safety as a concern. He gives her some money before she departs in the RV, leaving the Titty Twister behind. As Kate drives away, it is revealed that the Titty Twister is situated atop an 8-level partially sunken Aztec temple.